All right, so what we're doing today is opening up that block from last time. This is our block 1 drawing. And let's talk just a little bit more about our block 1. Okay, with block 1, this is the way we originally made this block. If I remember correctly, I think it was 4 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches. I believe we already did this where we went in and edited the sketch of the drawing. The way Fusion works is down here at the bottom, it gives you a timeline. If you hover over the first one, that's your sketch 1. You hover over the next one, that's your extrusion 1. You already did this in some of the hours, but not all. If you double click on the one that says sketch 1, you'll go into your sketch and you can change this. Our original drawing said 2 inches. We changed it down to 1.5 inches. And we finished our sketch and it automatically updates it to the drawing. Next, on the design of this, that guy that designed this messed up again and made a mistake on the extrusion. So now we need to go down here below and click on the extrusion. So come down here, double click on the extrusion. Our extrusion says it was, our original was 2. Looks like we already changed it. I don't know if everybody did get this one changed in this hour. Change that to 2.5 on your extrusion and go OK. So that's got all the changes made there to that block. We're going to do some additions to it now. All right, so once again, we're going to go ahead and do some more details to this drawing. So to do that, we're going to create another sketch. So we're going to come up here above to the top left corner and click on Create Sketch. Where we're going to create the sketch is up here on this top surface. So I'm just going to come up here and click on that top surface to create my sketch. Now, mine put it in this orientation. If yours did also, that's okay. But I really want it to be in this orientation instead. So I'm going to rotate that just by clicking the arrow here on my cube. So now it's put in there where the width is side to side, or the wide measurement is side to side. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a 2-point rectangle. And I'm going to start the rectangle. I'm going to start it on this black line at the top. It should give you an X and lock it in there. So I'm going to click there. Pull your box down and around, again, to where it gives me the X down here, and it should lock it in there. If you've done it correctly, the top and the bottom line should be all black, which means they're constrained and you can't move them. You can change the length of them, but you can't move them off of that position. So they're locked in black. Now what we need to do is get these other 2 lines fully constrained. We're going to do something a little bit different to do that. So first off, we're going to grab our dimension toolbar. I'm going to dimension from the side of this block to the side of this block here and pull that dimension up. It's going to give you a little message here. This is not an error message. This is just letting you know this is a driven dimension, meaning that if the length of this block changes, this dimension will change with it. It shows that by putting little parentheses around it. So if we change our sketch that changes the length of that drawing, this dimension will change with it. It's just here for reference. Next, we're going to put in 2 more dimensions. We're going to put in a dimension that is the width of that slot there. I'm going to set the width of that slot to 1.5 inches. And then next, I'm going to set this space over here on the left. So I'm going to dimension from that line on the outside edge to here and pull it up to right there. And I'm going to pause there for just a moment. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of math. But to do the math, we're actually not going to do the math. We're going to let Fusion do the math for us. So I want this dimension to be, this overall dimension, minus this dimension divided by 2, because I want it to be 2 equal spaces on the side. So to do that, I'm going to come up here where this is highlighted, come up here and click on the number 4, and go minus. Click on the 1.5. It put it in there for me as D6. Then we have to hit parentheses around that. So I'm going to hit my back arrow across. I'm going to put a parentheses there. Put a parentheses there. And I'm going to put a /2, which divides it by 2. And then we hit enter. And it automatically does the math for me. It does f of x 1.25. If I would change this inside dimension, let's say I change it to 0.75. Look at the magic that's going to happen. it automatically changed that. It automatically does the math for me. No matter what this is set to, it's automatically going to make that centered. Okay, now go ahead. We're finished with that sketch, so go ahead and finish sketch. Go ahead. If it did not do this for you, remember, hold your shift key, your middle mouse button, and twist that up in 3D a little bit so you can see it. We're going to go ahead and extrude again. Hey, and I realized this yesterday during 5th hour. They have added the shortcut. They never had this shortcut before. Last versions I've worked with. You always had to hit Q to do a press pull. And it brought up this. It didn't bring up your extrude command, which is here. It's a little bit different. They've added, finally, E for extrude. So hit E, or click up there, and they've added E for extrude. I want to extrude this middle section that we just created, so you're going to click on it, select it. On this box, I want to change this to not to new body at the bottom. I want to change it to a cut. So down at the bottom where it says operation, change it to cut. Obviously, my arrow is going the wrong way, so I'm going to grab my arrow and pull it down there. Ooh, look at that nice cut. And I'm going to make the distance of that 0.5. Oh, actually, have to put a negative there. Negative 0.5. And go OK. And there we go. All right, this block is done. So let's go ahead and do our new block. We're going to do block 2 now. So go to your little file at the top, up at the top here, click on File, click on New Design. And on our new design, we're going to design a new block. We're going to go ahead here and go ahead and create sketch. This is all repeat. We've done all this before. This sketch I'm going to create on this top plane. So I'm going to come down here to the top plane and click on it. And I'm going to pause there. On this top plane, we're going to go ahead and make another rectangle. So we're going to click on rectangle. We're going to click up here above in this top section and down below down to here. Okay. Once again, just like we did the last time, we're going to put in our couple of layout lines in there. If you remember how we did that, we created a layout line from the origin, straight up. Hit escape there. Create another layout line from the origin, straight over. Once those two lines are done, remember these are all black lines, so they're fully constrained now. Yes, we can change the length of them still, but they're still fully constrained. You can't change those lines. Now what I need to do is hold my shift key down and select both of those lines. Holding shift, click there, and over in this box, remember you're going to change those to construction lines. So right underneath the line type, and it says construction when you hover over it. Click. And now those are construction lines which are not selected when you move out there on the screen. All right. So now, if you recall, we have to get it centered up in position. We have to constrain it in the position of the drawing. We're going to use symmetry to do that. It's on the constrain toolbar at the top, second one over from the end, called symmetry. I'm going to click on the line on the left, click on the line on the right, click on my layout line, and it centers it up left to right. Again, line on the left, line on the right, and the center line. Same thing in the height of the drawing. Click on the line on the top, click on the line on the bottom, and click on the center line. All right, so if you recall what this did to us, this was when we hit escape and get out of the command. If you click on our top line, if I can, click on the top line and move it, it stays centered, moves both the top and the bottom. Click on the line on the left or the right, and it stays centered left to right. Okay, so now, one double check that I want you to do is to make sure that we defaulted to inches on this. If we didn't, we need to change that. So go up here above on your document settings, click the open arrow. Units should be inches. What units are you in? Everybody inches? If you're not inches, remember, click on it there, change it to inches, and check that box that says set as default. We're going to hope that that works over all your drawings. I'm not 100% positive it will. All right. So now, all we need to do is our size constraints. So we're going to use our dimension toolbar to do that. Come up here to the top. Last one under or underneath of create. And you're going to put a dimension from the left to the right. And we're going to put that in as 3 inches. 3-inch wide block. From the top to the bottom. Whoops, I misclicked. Let me try that again. From the top to the bottom. And we're going to put that in as 2 inches. So 2 by 3. Once you're there, go ahead and finish your sketch. And if it didn't automatically do it for you and make it into a 3D drawing, remember, click on your middle mouse button and you can twist that up into 3D a little bit with middle mouse button and your shift key. All right, so from here, we're going to go ahead and extrude this. So again, I'm just going to hit E for extrude now that I know it does that. E for extrude. How did we extrude? What direction did we extrude at? Both at the same time, which is symmetric. So go to symmetric. Go to your whole length. And let's extrude this at 0.25. And go OK. All right, this block is done. Go ahead and save this. So we're going to go up to our File. Save. Make sure it's going to your correct place. For me, that is my 3rd hour practice folder. Yes, it is. And call this block 2. Crazy complex names we're coming up with here. Block 2. And save. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put these things together. There are different ways of doing this in Fusion. This is one of the ways, and this is the way we're going to be doing our robot build. So that's why I'm starting out showing you this way. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch back to our block 2. Or sorry, our block 1. Mine is still open up at the top of the tab. If yours is not, open up block 1. So we're going to go back over here to block 1. Now, what I want to do is I want to put block 2 into the block 1 drawing. You should just be able to come over here to the bar on the side. If you don't have this open, remember you can click on your little waffle and open that up. So we're going to pull this over and place it here in this drawing. There, you see it's placed in there. Right now it's kind of overlapping it. Mine is at least. I don't want it overlapping like that. So I'm going to grab this arrow and I'm going to pull it up a little bit. And just something like that. So it's just above it a little bit so we can work with it here in just a moment. And you're going to go, OK. Okay, so now if you go ahead and click on that, notice it moves all around. I want to lock that in place. Honestly, if you click on your other block, notice how it does not move. So this one's kind of locked into place, but the other piece we put into it is free moving. We want to make this so it is not free moving. So we're going to come up here to the top where it says Assemble, and we're going to go to Joint. Assemble and Joint. Okay. Here, what I want to do is I want to rotate this around a little bit so I can see this bottom edge of it. And I want to click on this corner of the bottom surface. So notice how my little bullet point, it's kind of, the circle is on that surface. I want to have that circle on that surface. Come over here and pick that corner. I don't want to move it around to where, oh, now see I'm on the side surface. I don't want that. I want the bottom surface and that corner selected. It's a little bit keystrokey, weird, but click there. And then rotate this around. I want that point to be connected down to here. So again, notice my target's on this surface. Come over to that corner and click. And go OK. Okay, so now let's look at this. Let's see, how did the designer do? How well does that piece fit in there? Oh my gosh, that designer totally screwed up this whole thing. It does not fit, and the piece that goes into this slot does not fit. So this is one of the cool things about Fusion is you edit it. So, for example, this is not tall enough. Let's measure. Let's go over here to inspect. Let's measure, and I'm just going to measure this line. If you remember, that's great, but I want to show you how this works. You're going to click on that line. That length is 0.5. This block, it shouldn't have been however thick I made it. It should have been 0.5 thick. So let's take one thing at a time. Let's go back to our block 2. And what did I do that on? Was that the sketch or was that the extrusion? That was actually the extrusion. So double click on the extrusion and change that extrusion to 0.5 and go OK. Then now go back to our drawing, our block 1